Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who Big Finish audio drama review. In today's review we're going to be catching up with Jonathan Carley's younger version of the War Doctor in the 5th volume of the War Doctor Begins series, entitled Comrades In Arms, seeing the return of Case as portrayed by Ajaz Awad. This release is available to order now on the Big Finish website in both physical CD and digital download formats, and can also be purchased as part of a bundle alongside the other releases within the War Doctor Begins series. So this box set is split into 3 technically standalone stories, although they are somewhat connected together by theme, making for one big story. It's certainly another addictive listen, and once you've listened to episode 1, I think you really want to see this box set through until the very end in quite quick succession. So the previous volume within this series was The War Doctor Begins, He Who Fights of Monsters, as written by Robert Valentine. It was a 3-part epic, and I absolutely loved it. There was lots of variety, lots of brilliant Dalek storytelling, and lots of beautiful references in there as well. Lots of twists and turns, and this box set is rather similar. We have lots of exciting things going on, although I'm going to try and keep this review as spoiler-free as possible, so it is somewhat kept a mystery. So starting off with episode 1, Comrades in Arms opens with a mother's love. This story sees the Doctor arrive at a Time War hospital station called the Haven. He's travelling alone and responding to a distress signal, although he soon bumps into the familiar faces of Veclin and Case. Veclin has been injured and is in desperate need of medical attention, whilst Case, the Dalek-augmented cyborg, is now working for the Time Lords and must help Veclin on her mission. This is Noga Flation's debut story with Big Finish, and she's written a rather interesting commentary on the use of artificial intelligence within the Time War. Runa has been left by her parents who have travelled into the Time War, and the AI, who goes by the name of Mum, is looking after her. Except this Time Lord field hospital is weirdly quiet, and the Doctor must track down the source of this rather unusual distress signal. It's a really easy listen and a comfortable way to start off this set. It deals with the difficulties of being cyber-augmented and Case's search for identity. The episode kind of sees her being treated as a weapon rather than an actual person. This is perfectly contrasted with the Mom AI having control over the entirety of the station in its own little world. Giving Case time alone away from the Doctor and Veclin allows the character to explore her identity further. Admittedly, however, I wouldn't say that the story's idea is completely original, but that's okay. It's an enjoyable listen and allows the characters to come to the forefront. If you like crossing boundaries between AI technology and human emotion and consciousness, this one is certainly for you. Jonathan Carley seamlessly fits back into the role, and I find his performance really enjoyable to listen to. I also love the way that this story gives some focus to the Doctor and Veclin's relationship, the way that they approach different things, and who, if anyone, they would save in certain situations, and how they approach disaster scenarios. This is in fact a rather fitting conversation for them to have, given that the field hospital that they're currently within is heading for imminent implosion. This also adds an additional challenge to Case's identity, as they try to find their place within a universe at war. Something I do feel the need to comment on for this box set is the excellent production values. It really does feel incredibly slick, and it is a really pleasant listen. The script editor is Matt Fitton, the producer is David Richardson, the sound design and music has been created by Howard Carter, which feels incredibly dramatic for this box set, and the director is Barnaby Kay. Now, the previous direction within this series has come from Louise Jameson, so it's really lovely to see Barnaby coming on board, and I really think he's done something with this set that is very unique and different. I feel like from the behind the scenes interviews you can really feel his passion oozing through the entirety of this production, linking all of the stories together, so a massive thumbs up to him. So Berserker is the second episode of the set, as written by Timothy X. Attack. The War Doctor has been joined once more by Case on a mission to a bunker with the last blood bank and DNA of a race known as the Sunspires. Except the bunker has been isolated and sealed for over 400 years, killing the population on the inside as one lone Berserker Dalek roams all 12 levels. It's a mission piece with the aim to retrieve a databank and technology which shall help Case and her inner cyborg stuff. I'm going to try and avoid the technical cyber AI thing going on for the sake of spoilers. But also, rather notably, this episode also shall hopefully see the return of the Sunspires as a species, as the population is dwindling due to the events of the Time War. I'm loving how this series is starting to really utilise the warrior aspects of the War Doctor's personality. He's much more hands-on, and it's exciting seeing him in combat, being a part of a mission alongside others. As the War Doctor explains, his companions and friends have now been replaced by warriors and generals. His relationship with Case is interesting, as it's not really based on trust and friendship. They are both on a mission together, and yet the Doctor also seems to have his own little mission going on within his mind that he's keeping to himself. He's rather calculative and manipulative, and in a way kind of reminded me of the 7th Doctor. It's a brilliant contrast seeing this Doctor essentially travel with a walking weapon, and the conflict that that brings. Yes, they do have a somewhat warm relationship, and some moments are nice. They do get along as friends, but there's also a lot of tension within that relationship, which I think has been nicely explored throughout these adventures. I'm also delighted that this story continues to explore the concept of the Berserker Dalek. It really captured my imagination within the previous outing, and it certainly ups the stakes for the Time War. A Dalek so deadly and brutal it can rebuild from parts once destroyed. I think as these box sets go on, more interesting ideas are being brought to the table, and it feels like Big Finish are really starting to explore the Time War in a way that's more effective and intriguing. Some of the earlier Time War stories felt less time-bending and unique. I feel like this series is really starting to recognise the potential and strengths of carrying out Doctor Who stories within this time period. It's something of which I think the War Master spin-off series got used to very early on. Ajaz Awad's performance as Case is also brilliant. I feel like we are truly exploring this character's identity, but also the challenge that she brings to the Doctor. Ajaz and Jonathan really bring out the best in each other's performances. Carly has lots of lovely spiky moments with the Doctor, which highlights his desperation within this war. He has lost many people, but now he is a warrior, and you can feel the anger and loss burning inside as he carries out this mission. There's also that frustration with the people who he's surrounded by. Who can he trust? Who can he not? He doesn't really want to be there, and that makes the performance feel really, really angered, but also that this is a person who is on a mission to solve something. There's a great moment where he reflects on the fact that once upon a time in life he would be there aiming to save an entire planet, and now he's just aiming to get the job done. The way that this story has been designed also feels like one continuous take, which is great. I think Timothy is certainly one of the strongest writers within the Time War genre, creating high stakes and momentum throughout. Once you click play, it's action from beginning to end. You are truly taken on this deadly journey, and you don't really leave the characters behind at all throughout the entirety of the story. Memnos concludes the box set, and it's all about sides. With Case at the epicentre, she's a weapon in a great war, but which side is she on? The Daleks or the Time Lords? The Doctor and Case arrive at the Memnos, a station to remember those who are lost, and a place to look over memories. It is here that Case must make the difficult decision in a war where seeing good is very, very difficult. I like how Phil Ryan has pitted the sides against each other. It's less about painting the Daleks as bad and the Doctor and the Time Lords as good, but instead seeing how both of the sides have very big flaws. The Dalek time strategist is back doing his lovely time-bending, all-seeing things, which is always nice. I do like the Dalek time strategist. And he's attempting to make Case see the right path in her journey. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Case's relationship is tested even further. Again, this set is quite a ride for the Doctor, and I think both this volume and the previous one have really seen Carly solidify himself in the role. I love the continuous themes of battling with identity and the Doctor's path to fighting. He knows the Time Lords have done wrong, and yet a part of him seems to still be fighting their corner. So when Case confronts him, it's rather right for her to do so, because the Time Lords have done some rather shady things too, which have led to Planet's demise. Yet despite the last two volumes being really good, I do find returning to this series weirdly difficult. Once I've actually made the leap and I've integrated myself within the action, it's a really nice listen, but it's actually getting to that point of listening to the box set, which is the task in itself. And I must admit, I feel like the cover art for the previous two volumes haven't really done the stories justice. They aren't revealing what this series has to offer, which yes, keeps a lot of things a surprise, but from a sales perspective, I don't think it sells the potential that this series has. To kind of avoid spoilers, I think if the previous volume of stories had a cover that was more reflective of the actual box set's contents, I think it probably would have received a lot more attention. From set to set, I'm not seeing difference. I'm not seeing the unique elements of the box sets being advertised to the listeners, so if you are someone who is intrigued from listening to these reviews, I do definitely recommend giving this series a chance. This box set has 3 separate stories which have been tied together by Case. This gives the series direction and purpose, and a little spoiler to say, it does also end on a cliffhanger as well, so hopefully this plot direction is not over just yet. Once I listened to episode 1, I felt the urge to listen to the next, and the next after that, and despite all of this war and drama surrounding the universe, it does feel like the Doctor and Case are at the very core of this box set's journey. The episode opens up further vulnerabilities within Case's character, and I think I feel like I know her better as a person now, getting a little bit of a glimpse into her past, which was quite nice. And again, that further entices me in as a listener to see where this series goes next. It also has some lovely moments for the Daleks too. They truly feel like a force to be reckoned with, they feel very deadly, and they feel like something that could actually wipe out the universe. There's something that I enjoy looking forward to. The past 2 box sets have used Daleks in a really effective way, and it doesn't go overboard with them. For example, this story is the one where we see the most Dalek content. Much like the previous volume within this series, I think that this set takes the Time War into a new refreshing territory, which feels like it's telling a story with purpose, so in turn as a listener, I felt like I was in safe hands throughout. So there we have it, that is my review of the 5th volume of the War Doctor Begins series, entitled Comrades in Arms. Overall for this box set, lots of promising stories, and I do definitely recommend giving this series a go if you haven't already, although I do also recommend checking out Case's first box set in order to get that foundational context to her and the Doctor's relationship, but I think that this one definitely builds upon what we've seen in the past, 3 very creative stories. I think that it is definitely worth giving a go if you're a fan of Doctor Who within the Time War setting, which I know is not for everyone, and let's face it, Big Finish have done a lot of Time War content over the past few years. So thank you very much for watching this review, have a nice day, I shall see you all next time.